ESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. for the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
We are at Wings, etc. in Jackson. It is the Red Hawks Coaches Show. And we invite you to stop by, join us for lunch. They have a terrific menu. Of course, their food and drink specials are all throughout the week. Just so happens on Monday, those award-winning jumbo wings are just 69 cents. So make sure you take advantage of that. And if you are not in the mood for wings, they have a huge menu. It includes a whole burger section. They're freshly made burgers. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much, much more. Their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos, their deep-fried pickle spears. If you're coming for lunch, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $7.99. It's Wings, etc. We're in the Jackson location. Good food, great times. And don't forget, Monday Night Football tonight. You want to watch some football in high def? They have all of the games on their high-definition televisions. The St. Louis Blues open their season Wednesday night at home against the team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, the Washington Capitals. So you can watch Blues hockey in high definition. And the Major League Baseball playoffs getting ready to get underway. The Cardinals will play Thursday down in Atlanta. You can watch Cardinal baseball right here in high def at Wings, etc. We're going to be talking with the Red Hawks head football coach, Tom Matukowicz, and wide receiver Zach Smith is here. So we'll get a chance to talk with Zach Smith and ask him if he is the fastest player on the team. We need to know. We need to know who could win in a foot race. Coach Took is here. Who do you think would win in a foot race between all your offensive guys?
What a great question. I think it depends if someone's chasing them. there might be a different winner.
The old saying is, like, if you're being chased by a grizzly bear or some sort of a wild animal, you and somebody else, you don't have to outrun the animal. You just have to outrun the other guy.
Exactly.
All right. So when you talk about speed, that's something Zach Smith brings to the game.
Yeah, exactly right. He's so good, it's just Z. It ain't even Zach.
Okay.
You know you're good if you just got a name like just Z. And you're fast, too, right? You don't get a nickname like that and be slow, right?
So you've got Zach Hall.
Which is Zach Hall.
He can't be Z then.
Yeah. No, there's one Z and lots of Zachs, but one Z.
Okay. Well, we got Z coming up. He's got his menu in front of him, so we'll find out what his lunch selection is as we get ready to move on to conference play. You're going to be at home this weekend against Tennessee Tech. Talk much more about that. How was the bye week for you?
It was great. Got a chance to really look at all the film, see where we've been and what do we need to do to get better. Got a chance to scrimmage some of our younger players. When I look back, I think the thing that we got to get better at is the penalties. We've had too many stupid penalties, and it's not that you want to play a penalty-free game, because that's really not the case, but we can't have any of the stupid penalties. And offensively, we had 14 procedure penalties on the year. We've had 7 holdings. Those are the kind of things that we got to clean up. You look at third down, and we're not very good at third down. The average third down we had was 9 yards.
Which means you're not doing enough on first and second down
and a lot of the penalty stuff. And so if we get better at penalties, everything gets better. Everything. And so that's the goal. Special team-wise, we gave up a couple of plays that we can't give up, and so we're really focused on that this last week. Scheme-wise, we're looking at some scheme stuff and depth chart, and I feel pretty good coming out of this bye week of here's the plan, let's get on board and get moving to making those game-changing plays, and Z's a big part of that. He's a very dynamic specialist, but like you tell everybody, it doesn't matter if you other 10 don't do your job, and so that's the thing we got to get. We got to get to where we're really affecting games on the special teams units.
Now, you talked about being banged up after your 2 road games at Montana State and the University of Missouri. Did you give guys an opportunity to heal up a little bit? I mean, I know you worked during the off week.
You bet.
But at the same time, did some guys get a little bit of a breather?
Absolutely. I gave them more time off than any head coach I've ever coached with. You know, that's uncomfortable for a coach, just
Sure.
to be honest. Like you're like, when in doubt, let's just put the pedal down. Like, how could that hurt? Well, it does hurt you. But the thing I've learned, and I don't know if it's just kids nowadays, is they need the emotional break. If practice is light, they're still going to practice, and they're still getting fussed at. You know what I mean? I just think when they're just away, I think that does as much for you, even mentally and socially, than physically. So I gave them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. I wanted a team excited when I see them on Monday. We got a team meeting at 4:15, and I wanted a team excited. I wanted a team ready to go to practice, and just felt like giving those three days off was important. And like I told them, they got to learn how to handle time off. If you're a team that can't handle time off, man, it'll derail you coming out of a break. So
Having extra time to prepare for a team, like I was looking, you're playing Austin P on the road next week. They have a bye week this week. They get 2 weeks to prepare for you. Well, you're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for Tennessee Tech. How different is that? Or is it an advantage to have extra time to prepare for a team?
Yeah, it's an advantage if you handle it well. Just the fact that we get 2 weeks doesn't make it an advantage. It's how you handle these 2 weeks and your preparation and all those type of things. But you look at Tennessee Tech, they've had to go – it's going to be their third straight road game. You know what I mean? And driving through the cornfields of Illinois. I mean, they've been pretty rough, and so we should be the freshest team, but it doesn't matter, like unless we make it be that way. And so we got to do a great job this week.
And the special teams issue, at least you brought it up as an issue after your last game, and you said, hey, special teams has to get better. What kind of special teams work did you do and will you do leading up to Saturday?
Well, I feel like our kickoff unit, is the one that really needs to get better. And I think it starts with their depth chart. One thing with all the injuries we've had, I'm glad we're deep, and we are deep, to have 4 season-ending injuries like we've had, but we still feel good, But it does affect all the depth charts on the kicking game even more. And so we spent time really getting those guys ready in new roles. We tweaked some scheme stuff. And then kickoff return also. They had the new rule, which really affected us, where the no wedge blocking.
Right.
And so we're still kind of finding ourselves, but we got to find ways to – if we can get Z started, we're going – he's going to make a play for this team, but we haven't been able to. I was really disappointed against West Virginia State. We were not good enough there. And so those are the 2 units that I really feel like we had to do some things, and I feel good moving forward. We got a great plan, got the depth chart set. Now we got to execute. We got to get our players – have great clarity in their role, their game plan, what they need to do. They need to accept that role. They need to go out and get it done on Tuesday if they want to do it on Saturday.
How many starting position players are you comfortable with putting on special teams, putting on kick team and punt team?
I mean, it's really the ones that take a lot of skill. A coverage unit is all about talent. You know what I mean? Where a return unit is more about fundamentals and want to. And so our punt teams and our kickoff teams, get the first pick. As an example, if you're a starter, you won't play any more in 2 special teams. And then the punt gets the first draft. So if they want you on punt, they get it. Kickoff's the second. So that's kind of how we determine it. But it's not an exact science because you get people injured and you might be thin at some certain places, so you don't want to put those guys in those where they might get banged up, and now it causes other problems.
One thing we've noticed in Zach Smith's time here, he is pretty fearless when it comes to returning punts. Some guys will go up with that fair catch hand pretty quickly. Other guys will not. I mean, he's got guys bearing down on him sometimes. What's the game plan going in? Is there a hard, fast rule that you want your punt returner to, okay, if you can sense a couple of guys pretty close, let's call for the fair catch, or just at his discretion?
It's his discretion. That's what makes a good punt returner. Is you don't want a guy that he's got to be fearless, and because the problem with it is you're running up, you let it bounce. What happens?
Yeah.
It rolls for first down or 2 first downs, 20 yards. I mean, that's a bad deal. So we want it caught, and then you have to have that courage. You have to have that confidence that you're going to make that play. And one time he should have fair caught because we had punt safe in, and he didn't realize his punt safe. We're not holding anybody up. Only thing I wanted was the ball back. In that specific situation, he took a hit that he shouldn't have hit, but. It's tough being a punt returner. It really is. And nowadays, you get a lot of people that kick the ball out of the end zone on kickoff. Like, it's kind of hard to affect the games on kickoff return like you used to. Really, the punt game is really where a returner can really show up and change the game.
How different is it? And we'll ask Zach this because he does both kick and punt return. How different is it to be a punt returner than a kick returner, and how critical are the hands of a punt returner versus a kick returner?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to be out there if you can't catch. Like, we cannot put you out there and we'll get the ball back. So, like, you drop a ball and you're going to get stabbed with my big pin on the sideline. Like, that doesn't happen. The problem is the judging. Judging a punt and judging a kickoff is way different. So a lot more guys on our roster could be a kickoff returner than a punt returner. So that's
a very specialized craft, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you guys have machines where your punter doesn't have to punt it every time for guys to work on fielding punts, right?
Yeah, and that's the whole key, is to get a bunch of balls in the air so they can work on their craft. And sometimes with the rugby it's different. We've got to go 2 returners, and nowadays punt system, you got to be able to do a lot, because a lot of punt teams it's not like, hey, we're going to do this all year long, because it depends on what punt unit you're facing.
So I was trying to think, how many years has it been now that the rugby has kind of been the en vogue thing for a lot of teams, and how much has it changed the punt return game coaching against it?
Oh, I think it's changed it all. I mean, it really has. I'd say it's been in about 6 years, and then 4 or 5 it's really gotten going, and you see all kinds of people. All of a sudden here's this Australian rugby guy, and everybody wants that, and it's hard to return those, and they could spray it all over the field, and makes it pretty tough on us.
This is a trend. I mean, you've already played a team that had a kicker from Australia. You've already played a team that had a kicker from Sweden. How much are you seeing now? It's almost an international type position that they recruit there, because the guy from Sweden, I mean, he came from Sacramento State, anyway, it was a California junior college to West Virginia State. Sweden, I can't imagine he played in American football in Sweden.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't caught up to that. I'm not going to Australia. If I'm going to Australia, I'm going to shark fish or something. I'm not going to get a punter.
But you're seeing,
if I'm going all the way to Australia, I'm going to get something more valuable than a punter.
You're seeing a lot of these international guys that are coming in strictly to kick.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend. So it could be something we got to go down. We feel pretty good about our specialists, and so they're all going to be back, and that'll be good.
Yeah, we had Jake Reynolds on last week. He did a great job, by the way, last week. Didn't you think?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I was a little nervous, but he crushed it. He might be all-league radio show guy.
I think so. He could be the go-to guy after every game. Jake, come on over. Let's talk about it. All right, as you get ready to prepare for Tennessee Tech, one thing we are seeing with the Golden Eagles, for those who don't know, I mean, you scored 70 points on their field against them last year. They were 1-10. Nobody expected a whole lot out of Tennessee Tech. All of a sudden, they're 4-1. They've won 3 in a row, and they're the highest scoring offense in the league at 37 points per game. I mean, this is an amazing turnaround. I know it's only 5 games, so it's a small sample size, but what a turnaround they've had.
I have a lot of respect for Coach Alexander. He does a great job, and their whole staff. It's a great lesson to you, to me, to everybody about how last year doesn't mean anything about this year.
Yeah.
And so you can't compare scores. It's just it's just doesn't mean anything. I mean, their team's not the same. We don't have the same team, and so it's fun, man. Like we're bringing. There's a great football team coming into Houck at 6 p.m. this weekend. Like if that don't get your motor running, you're out of gas. Like let's go, and you know they're probably going to score a lot of points. They have on everybody else. They're actually 17 in the country, and points scored, and so they've given up some points, and so. Offensively, we got to get into the 30s, and defensively, we got to make them earn what they get. I went back and looked at every touchdown that they scored this year. The average distance was 15 yards. They're kind of a big play, big play unit. And so that's the thing we got to be able to do is make them earn everything they get. Don't do any cheap things, and just play play Red Hawk football.
I'm sure for a lot of coaches, they would love to be able to redshirt every freshman. Some programs allow you to do that. It depends on where your program is. Other programs who are trying to get some traction, you're unable to do it. Tennessee Tech was unable to do it with its quarterback last year. His name's Bailey Fisher. They threw him to the wolves, really, but knew that it would be valuable experience. Yeah. And he was the freshman of the year in the OVC, and now – they go to Eastern Illinois last week, and he sets a school record by throwing 6 touchdown passes of 2 yards, 5, 13, 16, 11, and 27 yards, with 6 touchdown passes.
He's a dog. I got to check his name. Like, is that his real name, Bailey Fisher? Like, doesn't that sound like a great quarterback? Maybe he changed his name once they started getting him good at football, but what a stud. He's really the most effective when it kind of breaks down. He's a mobile guy. He's kind of like Johnny Manziel. He's got lots of confidence, so he'll throw it in there. He's gotten in trouble a couple times too. He's taken some big hits, and man, this guy has just showed up every week. And I know the thing about this team, it's kind of like they've kind of taken his personality. Like, this is a very confident team that plays with a lot of energy. That wasn't them last year. It wasn't. This year, this is a confident football team. You look at the sidelines, you look at plays, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, they believe they're going to win this game, and that's a lot of it.
I mean, this guy, he's played for a season and a half. He's already 9th on their career passing list and 8th in rushing touchdowns in the nation. So it's not just that he throws for 6 touchdowns. He will take it and go. So this is the ultimate test for a defense, right, trying to prepare for a quarterback that plays this style.
Yeah, exactly, because he could they're good at running it. They're good at throwing it. They love scheme. There's just going to be plays all over the place. And so – the point is that the best chance for us to win this football game is focus on us. We're not going to focus on Bailey and what they do because we don't know. We're going to focus on how hard can we play, how physical can we play, and if he's going to run around like that, we need to put pads on him and see if he's going to hold up.
They beat Eastern Illinois, who's still winless, which is surprising considering the pedigree that Eastern Illinois has in this conference. Yeah. They beat them 40-29, and the game may not have been that close. Tech now 4-1. It's their best start since 2011. What did you see on film against Eastern Illinois?
It was close. Like, statistically, it wasn't how the game went, and it goes back to the number one thing was the turnover margin. I mean, EIU's getting after them. They have 3 3-and-outs. The problem was they throw a touchdown they get the guys to jump. He throws it in the end zone. They score a touchdown. The next offensive play, they turn it over in the red zone, touchdown. The next offensive play, touchdown. 21 points in like 3 or 4 minutes, and that's what you can't do. You gotta hang on the football. You can't give them short yardage like that.
Speaking of turnover margin, you led the country in that respect last year. The forced turnover numbers are down from where they have been, where they were a year ago, but you're not turning the ball over yourself. So You've got to be pleased with that. But as far as like accepting and forcing turnovers, we haven't seen a whole lot of it yet.
Yeah, exactly. So got to do a better job there. Offensively, they've been great. Santa's really back in his groove of managing the game. He's not going to force things. And defensively, we've dropped 2 or 3 picks, and then we're just not getting the forced, where we strip it out and those type of things, what we got to get back to. And we've been emphasizing it for the last 2 weeks, but it takes 3 weeks to get a habit. Form a habit. It takes 3 weeks, so it takes a while if they don't have it yet. So we're still trying to get that done, and so we're moving along. But like you said, we're doing well. We're still, when the thing you look at is points off turnovers. It's not just the turnovers. That doesn't necessarily help you win or lose games. It's how many points off turnovers, and we're winning that category.
You're the only team in the OVC that has 3 players in the top 10 in rushing yards per game, with Geno Hess and Zion Custis and Mark Robinson. Your ball security, considering how many different individuals are touching the ball, pretty amazing. You can tell that it is a point of emphasis for your program with that many guys touching the ball on a regular basis. It's just not coming out.
Yeah, Coach McDowell does a great job, and really challenged Coach Jackson. He's new, and last year we had 1 fumble all season from the running back
which
position.
is unbelievable.
And so challenged him, and he's done a great job, and he was coached well. He played it. He knows the position. He's on them about it, and man, they're just doing a great job.
Speaking of your coaches doing a great job, they were all trying to do great jobs on the recruiting trail this past week. That's one thing about your bye week is your coaches are all gone, right?
Yep. Yeah, we got to really identify, basically we'll start in June with a list, just so everybody knows. We'll have about 1,000 recruits in June. And it's like this giant funnel. And as it goes, we're going to end up recruiting probably about 100 kids about this time. And so it's starting to narrow itself, and we got to get focused, and we got to really start. You can't have the kind of energy. We don't have the manpower to recruit 1,000 people. We don't have that kind of staff. We don't have all the whatever they call them, GAs and all those stuff. So we got to wait. Now, once they get to 100, now we got to start really getting on them and attacking them. And so that's why this week was so important. Plus, we got to see a lot of players live. I was at football games this week, and we got to see a lot of players live. And we brought a lot of players in last year that we found during the bye week.
Are you getting in living rooms that you weren't previously getting in terms of higher level recruits that maybe you weren't able to get a sit down with or get real deep into the recruiting process with after what you did last year and where your final rankings were? And yes, you won a playoff game and you're still ranked again this year. Are you getting some conversations with higher level guys than maybe the first few years here?
I don't think it showed itself last year. I think we were signing the same type of guy. Maybe it was easier to sign him. I think we have to have another good year. I really believe that you got to stack back-to-back years to be able to really reach up to that other type of recruit. And
so you're saying they don't believe it yet?
I just think, basically, guys, hey, they had a great year. That's it. You know what I mean? You look historically, you go there, they don't have the facilities, they don't have the tradition, all those things. Well, we do it another year, what do they have now? Now you take all that away, and we have proof of what we've been doing and what we've been trying to do. And I think it'll help us in the drop downs. Drop downs, I've never been in that game because you didn't have that program mystique and that we weren't the cool FCS team, and so, but if you end up in the top 25 at the end of the year, you'll start to see 2 or 3 guys hop on a roster because, we can reach up and get that kid that it's a special situation why he's transferring. He's not transferring because he's a turd. He's transferring because of whatever, and we could get like an Ivory and some really, really great players for good reasons.
I'm sure you get this question a lot since Ivory Winters joined your program. Where is he currently in terms of where have you been working him? I'm sure people are asking you, hey, when do you think Ivory Winters is going to see the football field and in what capacity? And you may not have an idea yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been practicing and he's been just trying to get used to be a Division I athlete from the day to day. And he's live this week. So I actually had a meeting with him this morning, and we're going to try to give him some opportunities in practice. And the thing that all our players have to understand is you have to put good film out there. Like, you don't practice well Tuesday, you don't get the rep Saturday. And so really this Tuesday is his Saturday, and I just believe that you got to start making plays on special teams before we're going to sit there and let you handle the football. And so we're going to maybe give him some opportunities there, and we're going to start to try to get him to help this football team just like everybody else.
So in other words, I don't want to read between the lines. If he practices well this week, we might see him return a kick on Saturday.
No.
Okay.
Did you not? I'm not giving
That's
a
what
guy
I'm saying.
a
I'm
football
not,
that has it. No. He's going to have the ball. He's going to be returning it because I know exactly what's going to happen.
Okay.
But he might run down and smoke a dude that
Okay.
has the ball. Yeah, that's
So you're
what
talking
I
about
wanna
just
see.
being on special teams, not
Yes,
being
not
a specialist.
returner, no.
Okay.
You don't get the ball in your hands until you, proved yourself.
And will he take reps at running back?
Yeah, he has since he's been here. Yep.
What do you see? You've seen him. I know you saw him play live at Hayti.
Yeah.
You saw plenty of film. What have you seen in a Red Hawk practice jersey?
Well, he's fast. He's physical. He's going to be a very good player. But it's more than that. Like, hey, you got to block this guy when it's a pass, and hey, here's your footwork on this play, and here's your footwork on that play. So it takes time for your talent to show itself because we got to get you to understand the system, and it's hard for a freshman, period. But let alone a guy that didn't even go through fall camp, hadn't been here all summer. So, and the thing I will not do is I'm gonna play him a little later than a little early. Like, I learned my lesson about, you play a kid too early and he's not ready for that, and then he has something bad happen to him, man. It's hard to recover from that confidence-wise. It's like your kids. You want them to be over ready before, and so we've been coaching him hard. He's been taking the coaching, so hopefully he goes out and puts some good film out there, and he'll get a chance to do something for the Red Hawks this weekend.
What is his special skill? I mean, why was he so highly recruited? Why was he a Big Ten recruit?
Because, let me just make it simple. He runs like he's 160 pounds, and he plays like he's 250. That's the difference. He's skilled like a little bitty person. Like, he's this way, he's that way. But he's 215, so when he goes around a corner and you got an arm tackle, you ain't getting him. And you're just more durable. If you're it's just simple. Like, if something's 180 pounds, something's 250, and you whack it enough, what's going to break it first? The 180. So that's why, that's the big difference between an FBS team and a recruit and an FCS recruit. Is the size to go along with the skill. Because our running backs are skilled.
Sure.
They're very skilled. So that's probably the biggest difference. And like I said, he's a great kid. And, we got a lot of them, though. He's one of many really, really great kids on this football team.
And for those who don't follow it very closely, the other big difference between FCS and FBS, the number of scholarships.
Yeah.
FBS, Mizzou gets 85, you get 63.
Right.
I mean, so that's a lot of players. That's two. I mean, that's 11 on each side of the ball.
Right, exactly. And it makes a big difference, So depth, and it's like now, I got 4 season-ending injuries, it just starts to show itself if it keeps happening.
Male High School in Louisville, Kentucky is a really successful program. I mean, they are really, really a winning program. That's where you got Zach Smith and Zach Hall. Talk about the recruiting of both of those guys.
Well, Z is like a famous guy. Like, you go to Louisville and you just say, hey, I know Z, and they're like, you're good. You can get in any sandwich shop you want if you just say, hey, I know Z.
It's just the
he
sandwich
was kind
shops.
of a fancy guy. He had everybody wanted Z, and I'm not sure why he chose SEMO. On paper, he had better options. be a good question for him, because at the time he decided to jump on our ship. It wasn't like we had a lot of evidence that we were doing a lot of good things, but I think he believed in the staff and what we're doing. And the thing I've always loved about Z and those guys is they're very loyal. Like, if you say something bad about Louisville, they'll fight. Like, I appreciate that about somebody that has that kind of loyalty about, I don't care what you believe in, but you got to believe in something. And, all those guys believe in their city. They love their city. And I think that's pretty neat. And one of the reasons I think he'll tell you he came here is it kind of reminded him of Louisville, this area. I think he liked Cape Girardeau, Cape Jackson area, Cape County. He liked this area. So it'll be interesting. But he's got great parents. Mom and dad are awesome. He's got a brother and a sister, and just an unbelievable family. That's why he's such an unbelievable kid. And he's had a lot happen to him too. Broke a collarbone. He's had injuries. He's had the highs of highs, scoring touchdowns. He's muffed a punt. Like, he's had everything that life does happen to him. I mean, and he just keeps coming. That's why I love him.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Stony Brook game last year where he had the kick, he dropped it, and got like a Hall of Fame bounce right back into his hands, and off he went.
Yeah, it was either Stony Brook or Jacksonville. Was it Jacksonville? Yeah,
Jacksonville.
I thought it was Jacksonville
Okay.
State.
Jacksonville State.
Yeah, that was one of those where you're like, oh my, go. But that's it's just our game. I mean, the ball takes funny bounces. That was the fun thing about last year, man. We seemed to get all of those bounces.
Got the bounces. And speaking of Jacksonville, we'll talk about how they got curb stomped a little bit later on in the show, and how surprised you were, not surprised with the Jacksonville score. But first, we're going to talk with Zach Smith. He's going to join us after this timeout and find out what was on the lunch menu. Whatever it was, it's gone. I don't see any food over there now. So Zach Smith going to join us when we come back. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings in Jackson on SEMO ESPN.
The TV make a sports bar, Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar status serious. Wings.
Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Jackson. And don't forget, we'll be back in the Cape location next week. And don't forget that on Mondays, you can get the award-winning Jumbo Wings here at Wings Etc. for just 69 cents. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week. If you're coming for lunch, the daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $7.99, and the appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos, their deep-fried pickle spears. They've got a terrific kids menu here, Mom and Dad. And at Wings, they're open 7 days a week, late on the weekends because the games run late, and we've got all kinds of games. Monday Night Football tonight, Wild Card Major League Baseball tomorrow, Blues Hockey opener Wednesday, Cardinals in the playoffs Thursday, all kinds of different things. Now, the Redhawks will be at home, so you don't get the home games here at Wings for the Redhawks, but when they're on the road, I know they've got the Redhawk games on the flat screens here. So this is your home. If you want to watch the latest sporting events, it's right here at Wings, etc. They rarely have New England Patriot games on here, though, because not big fans of the Patriots. I kid. The Hobbs are huge Patriot fans. Let's welcome in Redhawks wide receiver Zach Smith. Is it weird to kind of be in the same room and hear people talking about you?
No, sir.
Not
sir.
weird.
No.
All right. Sometimes we'll have a player in and we start talking about. I can see them kind of put their head down and they're embarrassed to be talked about. That's not the case.
No, sir.
All right. Who gave you the nickname Z?
My mom.
Okay.
Yeah. She wanted to name me Zachary, but it's also spelled different than a bunch of Zacharys. Zachary's usually Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y.
Right.
Mine is Z-A-C-K-E-R-Y. And she said she just wanted me to be different than everybody else because at that time she felt like everybody was naming their kids Zachary with the H and the A, and she just wanted that to happen.
So that's good that the nickname came from Mom, and it stuck because sometimes guys will, your friends or teammates, they go with a different nickname. The big no-no is you can't give yourself a nickname. That doesn't work.
Yeah, no, sir.
Yeah. All right, Louisville, Kentucky, and we are pronouncing it right. It's Louisville.
Yes, Louisville. Yes, sir.
All right. Does that get under your skin?
Oh, yeah.
People call it Louisville or something
yeah,
like that?
Definitely. I correct them every single time.
All right. So have you ever been to the Kentucky Derby?
Never been to Kentucky Derby.
Is that on your bucket list, or you're not interested?
It is. It's just wild 2 days down there.
I bet.
To say the least.
I bet it is. What was it like growing up in Louisville? What's about the population of Louisville?
About 1.7.
Okay.
1.7 million. So you're not seeing the same people every day like you do in Cape sometimes. But I just like growing up there because of the schools I went to, the people I was around at all the time. They just helped me get to where I am today. So.
All right. Was it always football? Did you do any baseball or basketball or maybe track and field?
So I played football since I was 5. I also played basketball and baseball. I gave baseball up because all it did was steal bases. Like I was just going to steal bases. And then my 8th grade year, I was playing basketball. But once I got to high school, I was like, I want to put all my focus on football and get a scholarship so my parents don't have to pay for school. Here I am.
That's fantastic. And we're starting to see a lot more athletes kind of specialize at some point during their career, whether it's junior high, early in high school. You can kind of see, hey, maybe I've got a future in this sport. But then you do see guys that want to play all the sports. Was there any time where someone kind of came to you and said, hey, maybe you put all your hard work into this sport and you may have a future in it?
Yeah, my mom and dad always thought I was going to be a Division I football player ever since I was little, but they just didn't know where I was going to end up. And I had, people telling me I was the wrong color, I was too small. I've heard it all, but it doesn't faze me. If anything, it just motivated me even more to work hard. So
I think you're the right color, by the way, just so you know. I throw that out there. Hey, let me ask you this. Have you always been the fastest guy in your class?
For the most part, yes, but I had a guy I graduated with. His name's Devin Gentry. We were recruiting him here too. He's at a receiver at Georgia State. He runs like a 10-4 100 meter.
Wow.
So he was a dude on the track too.
I was gonna say he's a track star then.
Yes, sir. They try to get me to run track every year at Male, but I was like, I gotta put 15 pounds of muscle on it so I can perform in the fall. So.
Did you ever run track at any level?
I ran track in 8th grade.
Okay.
Went to one meet, and it was like 5 hours for one event, and I was never going to do that to myself again.
No. This is not for me. So what is your best ever 40-yard dash time?
best ever 40-yard dash time, I'd probably have to say somewhere in high school I ran a 4.42 hand time, obviously.
Sure.
But, I mean, I was also 35 pounds lighter. So I put on some muscle when I got to college. I don't think I've lost much speed, but I've definitely gained a lot of power. So
Zach Smith, our guest here on the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings in Jackson. So if you get in a foot race with any other offensive player on the roster, who wins the foot races?
I'm going to go with myself.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie to you.
All right. Well, who would be your stiffest competition?
I'd say Ivory. He can move a little bit.
Surprise you that a guy that big can run that fast?
Not really. Just the way he works. I could tell from day one that how he works is gonna get him to where he wants to be in this program. But I'd say Zion too. Zion can definitely move too. So
How about that? You're a return specialist. How about that touchdown return Zion had last year against Eastern Illinois as a true freshman? I mean, it's hard to step in and be an impact guy Division I as a freshman, right?
yes, sir. He had to accept that role last year, being behind Quez, getting limited reps, but kind of taking over there a little bit towards the end. But he just bought into his role in kickoff return and did it to the best of his ability every time.
All right, now tell us about that kickoff return against Jacksonville, where you get the bounce of all bounces. Did it go through your mind at all? Oh, I'm dropping the ball, or did it happen so quick you didn't even know?
We were so hyped, like, just to play Jacksonville and get it going. But I'd say my grandma, she passed earlier in that summer, and that was kind of a big thing for me. And when I dropped that and the way it bounced and coming back to me, I wasn't meant to fumble the ball. It was all her telling me, you weren't supposed to fumble that, so here you are. This is the only time you're getting it, though. So I had to make something happen.
So you may have got an assist from your grandma. She may tip that.
Definitely. She had the best seat that day.
She had a hand on it. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So how big of a win was that? I mean, has there been a more excited locker room after a game, maybe the Stony Brook game?
Yeah, I'd say the Stony Brook, but the Jacksonville game, that kind of set the tone for the rest of the season. Let others know that SEMO, they're not nothing to play about. So hopefully that's how everybody's going to see us this year too, as the year progresses.
So you win a state championship at Male High School. The Bulldogs went 15-0. You won the Class 6 state title, and that's the largest class in Kentucky, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Since they lost all this great talent in Zach Hall and Zach Smith, the program probably crumbled, and they're not even any good anymore, right?
No, sir. That's not the case. We have a great coach there, and Coach Wolf, and he honestly coaches just like here. Like, he runs practice just like a college practice, how it's supposed to be done. They won state last year, and they're probably well on their way this year too.
So you said they're undefeated?
They're undefeated
this year?
right now. Yes, they just beat Trinity. It's like a public powerhouse in Louisville. Or, my bad, private powerhouse in Louisville. And I only lost to them once. I just thought I had to throw that out there.
And you could throw out the fact you had a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown against Trinity, right?
I do remember that. That was my junior year in the playoffs. We were, kind of like on offense, we were struggling, needed to play on special teams. Put me back there and said, make something happen. So took it back.
So if Coach Tuke tells you to make something happen Saturday, that's all it's going to take then?
But just like he was saying, the other 10, they got to do their job. If I do my job, I got to catch the ball, secure it, go to where we're supposed to hit it, and then I'm sure good things will happen.
All right. Did you have to battle injuries much in high school, or has it just been at the college level?
Just been at the college level. I was never injured in high school, like no bones, no ligaments, sprained ankles, none of that. And then I got to college, and, it's been a constant battle, but it's always about how you treat your body too. So I've gotten a lot better at that as the years have progressed.
So you missed a little time with a calf injury. Had you ever dealt with one of those before? And I know they're tricky because they're one of those injuries where you think, okay, yeah, I think I'm good. Well, you may not be good, and the first time you really have to go 100%, you can re-aggravate an injury like that. What was that like?
I was kind of shocked that it was, I had a partially torn calf at first. I'd never heard of it, but it made sense once he was describing what my foot was doing or whatever. And I went there and got an injection in it. It was tough because I was looking forward to starting against SIU. You know, first game of the year, them coming to us, war for the wheel. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more. Open on a Thursday night, and then you know, that was tough. But I'm always there for my teammates. Always there for Kobe. He stepped in, you know, did what he had to do for us to get that win. So.
Well, this receiving core that you've got, pretty good. You, Christian Wilkerson's an All-American, and Aaron Alston looks like he's got a chance to really be an impact guy.
Yeah, I've been telling Aaron since he was a freshman, you know, he had a limited role at first, being just on strictly special teams. But as the year progressed, he got more reps on offense. And this past offseason in the spring, I was like, this dude's a dog. Like, he's going to be a problem in the fall. And in the spring game, he showed that, and this fall, he is showing that. So,
how about having a quarterback the caliber of a Daniel Santa Catarina? You can be a good wide receiver. Can you have a guy under center get you the football?
Exactly. You know, Santa, he's really smart. We've worked all summer on routes, timing, you know, in and out of breaks, where he wants me to be, like the whole 9 yards you can think of. We've worked on, and I have that confidence in him. He has that confidence in us. And he doesn't think, you know, well, if you're one-on-one, you got to beat the DB. He's going to throw it up, let you make a play. So,
how much do you like these jet sweeps? I don't know what you guys call them. You may have different terminology. We kind of in the media refer to them as jet sweeps, end arounds, whatever. But the difference is it's no longer a handoff.
Right.
It's a little toss, and it actually goes as a reception for you.
Yeah, last year against Dayton, Santa was mad at first because he didn't get his stats. He stood there and tossed the ball, so he got 73 yards for everything that I did. But it is what it is. But, I mean, they're great whenever everybody blocks. When everybody blocks, they're real good. But whenever nobody blocks, it's not good.
All right, what's your favorite route to run as a receiver?
I'd say a win route, me one-on-one with the linebacker, depending on, you know, pre-snap, if he's inside of me, where I'm going to go, post-snap as he moves and all that. So just essentially beating him on a route, catching the ball, getting upfield.
Now, we mentioned the big touchdown on a kick return against Trinity in high school. How much did you return kicks and punts in high school?
So we had a problem like on our varsity team my sophomore year, about 3-4 games in, and I would always stay after practice and catch punts, you know, just so Coach Wolf could realize that I could do what the team was struggling at.
Sure.
And then he finally took a chance on me in my sophomore year. So ever since my sophomore year in high school, I've been returning punts.
So this isn't something that's new for you?
No, sir. But it all started like when I was younger. My dad would kick to me in the court. Like we had a big old side yard. He would just be in the side yard kicking, and I would catch. So that's how that kind of started.
He probably wishes you had one of those machines now, right?
I guarantee it.
Are they like because I know they're called jugs machines in baseball. Are they called jugs machines in football?
Yeah, they're not very fun to catch either. It hurts.
Really?
It hurts worse than the actual punt.
How about when a guy is a left-footed punter? Is it different as a punt returner?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's the way the ball rotates in the air, like coming down, hitting the ground, which way it's going to bounce forward or backwards. It's definitely different. I think it's more challenging than a right footer.
So do you work on that even though you know that you're going to be facing a right-footed punter that particular day? Or is it the scouting report says, hey, one of their punters kicks left-footed, we're going to do something different, or you just work on it all the time?
I mean, we just work on it all the time, usually just be prepared for whatever they got for us. But if there's a left-footed punter, you know, as y'all were talking about earlier, rugby, like somebody from Australia, then we'll take note because those dudes, you can usually kick the ball.
All right, so how different is it? A traditional guy who hangs it up there and tries to kick a perfect spiral versus the rugby guy for you as a return man?
I'd say the traditional, you know, you kind of have an idea where the ball's going to land. These rugby dudes, they could roll out to the right, kick it all the way left. You're running. You thought pre-snap you're rolling with him, so you're all the way to the right, and he's kicking it all the way across field. It's frustrating. But, I mean, you can't do anything about it. As long as your team has the ball at the end of the play, that's all that matters.
And what I've noticed is I read your body language, and it looks like you get mad when you have to fair catch a ball.
I mean, I'm real aggressive, if y'all haven't been able to tell by now. But I think that Coach Took and Coach Martin liked me back there for that. And, you know, sometimes I just got to come to the realization that fair catch is the best play for that play. So I think I have with some hits I've taken.
So what's the rule now? The ball is inside the 10. A punt is inside the 10. When are you instructed it's fair catch, or I act like it's a fair catch, I get out of the way because it looks like it's going into the end zone? How does that work?
So we'll have our heels on the 8-yard line. Anything above our head or it looks like it's going by, you don't catch it at all. You know, they give me whatever I want to do, honestly. I'll go out there. They'll tell me what I need to do, but if I think the ball's going over my head, I'm going to do what I think's best so we can get the ball at better field position than on the 2.
Which do you prefer, kick returns or punt returns?
Punt return. And that's probably sounds weird to a lot of people, but there's just something about you being back there by yourself and the whole other team coming down with bad intentions. And all you got to do, is make 1-2 good cuts, and that thing could pop open. You never know where it could go.
All right, it's pretty obvious Tennessee Tech is a lot better than the team you put 70 points on last year. So they're coming in here, and as Coach Tuke was saying, they got a little bit of a swagger to them.
Yeah, as they should. Any winning team, I believe, should come in with some confidence and expecting to win. But I'm glad. That makes the OVC more challenging for us, bigger road ahead of us. So I'm ready. Let's go.
What did you think when you saw that Austin P. Jacksonville score?
I didn't think I was seeing the TV right at first, but hey, it's the OVC. Anything can happen, so I'm ready for it.
I know you're concentrating first of all on Tennessee Tech. That's your only focus. But at any point, do you find yourself just saying, "Man, I can't wait to get down to Jacksonville, Alabama"?
Yeah, I've thought about that. Like you said, focuses on Tennessee Tech, but that's always something to look forward to. Just like Tuke says, though, we're gonna focus on now and us, and then whenever that comes, we'll focus on that then.
Feel pretty healthy? Did you like the bye week? I know because people have been a little nicked up. Your quarterback's been nicked up.
Definitely been nicked up. I asked him how he was doing this morning whenever we were lifting, and he said he's, getting his groove back, so that was good to hear. But bye week was needed. We got probably more days off than Coach Tuke would have liked, but I'm sure it'll all pay off for us in the long run.
All right, so we asked you about the offensive players and who would win in a foot race. How about the defensive players?
Probably between DJ and Shabari. As of now, Al with the injury, but probably DJ and Shabari.
Now, Shabari has done some punt returning as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really good playmaker on that side of the football. All right, so what's the focus going in here? You start conference play. You guys have designs on winning an OVC championship. What's the mindset?
This is what we've been waiting for the whole season. We started off slow, not as we wanted to, but now this is like the season. This next 8 games, destiny's in our hand. So ball's in our court. We got to go make it happen.
Can't wait. 6 o'clock Saturday. What was on the lunch menu for you?
Boneless wings. I can't do the traditional. They're too messy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll go boneless too. I don't need my hands all messy. Zach, thank you so much. Best of luck the rest of the season. Thanks for being with us. Zach Smith. Let's take a timeout. Back to wrap things up with Coach Tuke. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings in Jackson. To the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings, etc. in Jackson. Don't forget, we'll be back in the Cape location the next 2 weeks. We hope you'll join us next Monday at Wings, etc. in Cape. Coach Tuke rejoining us. What were your thoughts when you saw that Austin P. Jacksonville State score? For those who don't know, Austin P. hosted Jacksonville State and blew out the Gamecocks. In fact, at one point in the third quarter, it was 45-7. First of all, it may not have been a huge surprise that Austin Peay would beat Jacksonville. Austin Peay's good and has been the last few years, but the margin of victory, I think, was a little shocking.
It really was. I was surprised. I haven't seen any of the game film. I looked at the stats. The biggest thing was the 3 turnovers in the first half. Changed field position, but Austin Peay's defense has done well all year long. So to be able to hold that type of offense to that type of points, pretty shocking. It's going to be fun. I mean, the OVC's a great league. You can't decide any of the outcomes ahead of time because you never know, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
By the way, Jeff Hansa, Sports Information Director, Strategic Communication Director. Well, they changed the terminology. I'm used to years and years saying sports information. Now it's strategic communications. Lets us know that the Red Hawks are number 23 in this week's media poll, unchanged. 25 in the coaches poll, so that is unchanged. The Red Hawks are exactly where they were last year. Tennessee Tech and Austin Peay both receiving votes now with their really good starts, plus Jacksonville's ranked. All of a sudden, the OVC is looking pretty strong this year.
Yeah, really is. And you think about our next 3 games. I mean, those are
the teams.
Those
you play
are
them
the team, all back to back to back, and let's go. So I think we know a lot about our team, know where it is that we got to try and get better. We're at a good place. We need people to show up on Saturday. I mean, there's a reason we've won 9. Is it 9 straight?
9 in a row.
And a night game. It's going to be fall weather frickin' finally, right? Like,
I mean, we got a couple of days that say we're supposed to be in the 90s this week.
Boo.
Not on Saturday, though.
It's going to be beautiful, and got a 4-1 team that's got some dynamic players, and it's going to be this is why we work so hard to have opportunities like this. And we just got that feeling that you have from a big game coming up. You got to make that drive your preparation. Because you don't just show up and play well. You play well because you practiced well and all the things it takes to get it done. And so that's the message to the team, and we're going to try to have some fun too. I think I've been too growly lately. We're going to tailgate for the soccer game on Thursday, so I think Joe's going to hook us up for some hot dogs and hamburgers. We got to just make sure we don't lose sight of having fun with each other. And the hard things about team is come December, it breaks, and it's never like that ever again. Kids leave, new kids come in, and so I just think it's important that we spend some time hanging out with each other before this OVC grind hits. And
you got to hang out with some on Saturday night. We'd been promoting the Red Hawks Trivia Night and Auction, and, man, that was a success. They had 50 tables. A lot of money raised for Red Hawk Athletics on Saturday.
Yeah, did a great job. There's just so many wonderful people in this area that just are, they support us. They support the programs, all athletics. And it's fun to be a part of this community in this area. Just a lot of really good people.
Last night game of the year, that's good with you?
Yes.
You're an afternoon. Give me an afternoon kickoff.
No, I'm an 11 a.m.er.
You want to get it out of the way.
Yes. Let's get up, hit some coffee, and throw it down.
All right. And the keys to beating Tennessee Tech. I mean, they've only one team's been able to beat them so far this year. What's the game plan?
Well, you can't focus on them. We got to eliminate the stupid penalty. We got to play fast and physical. And then on offense, I think our tempo and the physicality that we played with last week, we need to continue to try and play with. Defensively, we just got to make them earn things. We can't give up, the big chunk yardage. Catch it in front of us, get it tackled, those type of things.
I think Tom Brady's about done. Did you see he didn't even throw a touchdown pass on Sunday?
Man, what a bum.
Didn't even throw a touchdown pass.
What a bum, I tell you what.
Coach, thanks so much. We'll see you over at Houck Stadium on Saturday night to get conference play underway. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Coach Tom Matukowicz, thanks to Zach Smith, who joined us a little earlier. Thanks to Stephen K. Deanfield, our engineers on site. And thanks to Jeff Hanza for getting us the information on the top 25 rankings. We've got the Stephen A. Smith Show coming up on ESPN Radio. And don't forget, 6 o'clock kickoff at Houck Stadium Saturday night. Hope to have a big crowd. We'll talk to you then. See you. So long, everybody.